And I'm recording.
Hey guys, Dylan Report, Common Sense Conservative.
Free Press Media News.
We're going to do a recap together about what happened today at the Portland Proud Boy conservative right-wing event and how Antifa came in and tried to attack.
Somebody's trying to steal some of my screen there. There we go.
Get some more picture of Rob in there. So, you want to start out, Rob?
Yeah, I'll start out. So the first thing today, the thing that everybody needs to know, contrary to what the media might believe, what the media might report, is that today there was an event planned for downtown Portland. It did not happen in downtown Portland. Antifa went to downtown Portland, but the Patriots did not go to downtown Portland. They went to northeast Portland. They went to an area that is just all by itself, an abandoned parking lot, all by itself, just so there would be no fight, just so there would be no violence, just so they could show the world that they literally just wanted to have a rally, have some freedom talking, just evangelize freedom a little bit, hang out with people, and have a good day. Well, there were some speeches. It was a good day. There was some music, people hanging out, people chatting. And then Antifa shows up. Antifa came all the way from downtown Portland, and they came to northeast Portland to an abandoned Kmart parking lot to try to pick a fight. And they didn't win. They did not have the desired outcome that they wanted. They came, and the Patriots that were there defended themselves. There's already reports out there that Patriots are throwing explosives. Nope. Patriots were not throwing explosives. Antifa was throwing explosives. These guys were a lot closer than I was to some of that. There's also reports out there that there was an ambulance that was knocked over, and the driver of that ambulance was beat up. That's not what happened. First of all, it used to be an ambulance. It's not. The stickers were pulled off, and the person who was driving that ambulance decided to come in, roll down his window, and pepper spray the crowd that was standing at that entrance to the parking lot. The people took him out. Well, actually, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to let the person who was a lot closer talk about that. But that's the rundown. Don't listen to what the media said. We all filmed it. The three of us all filmed it. You guys can go see it. You can check it out. You can watch what happened in real time as it happened. That's why we do this. That's why we do this job. We do this job because people need to see the truth, and the truth came out today. This was a huge win for America. The violent commie wannabe ninjas, formerly known as Antifa, proved their fascism today. They proved their hate today. They proved their bigotry today. And they found out.
So, starting with the van that came in, that was probably about, my timeline might not be right because I wasn't looking at my clock, but somewhere around 2 hours into the event, an Antifa person, were they in black bloc in the van? So they come up in the van. I don't know if they were in black bloc or not, and they block the first entrance to the parking lot. And then the conservative right-wing crowd started thinking that there might be other cars coming because it looked like they were trying to box people into the parking lot. And so a bunch of the Proud Boys and other conservatives there went up to the van, and the guy started spraying mace at everybody. And he had his car, the van, it was an old wheelchair van that had been sold from the company. He had his van parked diagonal across the entrance to the parking lot, so he was purposely trying to block that entrance. So they come up, and he starts spraying them like crazy, and then the right-wing crowd starts spraying him back. They get his door open, and they annihilated his car. I think the guy slipped out the passenger door and ran off. Shortly after that, a couple minutes after that, we see that there's a crowd of Antifa that had showed up. There's probably 30 to 50 of them, all in very militant black bloc, every one of them. And they immediately started throwing mortars and bombs. I'll say bombs because they weren't just fireworks. Some people were reporting that they saw batteries hooked up to them.
There was.
Some people were reporting that they were, some of them were spreading metal shrapnel. And I showed several of them on my stream to where they were definitely, if anything else, they were doctored. There were some of them that were, 3 of them were taped together. I don't know. The packaging was taken off of it, and they were taped together, and I don't know if other explosives were added to it. There were many different devices, but they were all doctored and made up. Those were bombs. They were throwing bombs at us. And one of the most dangerous things, luckily nothing worse happened, but when they were throwing those bombs, they were throwing them at a lot of people that were in front of gas pumps at a gas station. They were throwing bombs next to fuel pumps. So Antifa started attacking the Patriot crowd, the right-wing crowd, and then the right-wing crowd pushed them back. And there was a little scuffle back and forth, and once Antifa ran out of most of their bombs, that's when the right-wingers overtook them. They ran them all the way down the street to the intersection and to the parking lot that we should have had cameras set up, because it was obvious that that's where they were going to stage. The high school parking lot just across the street from the event. Several of the Antifa engaged. Both sides were engaging in mutual combat. Several of the Antifa got beaten very severely. Several of their vehicles got very, very beaten severely. They were trying to escape in them. Some of them escaped. Some of them were trying to use their vehicles as weapons. Some of them were trying to use their vehicles to get in between the two crowds. But make no mistake, whatever the news media said there, I saw Channel 12, Channel 8, and Channel 9 there, and I all addressed them, and I got them on film and showed them where they were, and I told them to tell the truth. If they're not telling the truth, or they're just making a bland narrative where you can't tell if there's any guilt on any side, they're lying by not telling the truth. But so what happened is the group moved their event clear across Portland. Anybody that knows the geography of Portland knows that 122nd and Skidmore is the middle of nowhere. It's not the hood, it's not the most dangerous place in Portland, but it's the ghetto. And it's out there in the middle of nowhere. It's not easy to get there on transit. You have to take several buses, a max or whatever. It's not an easy place to get to. So they strategically chose a place to throw their rally to where if Antifa came, they would have to go severely out of their way to get there. And they did. A small army of Black Bloc came and started throwing bombs at people. People were driving down the road not knowing what's happening. Eventually Antifa got beaten back severely. They lost. They got ran out of there.
6 guys. Like, there's footage. I'm going to put it out. I have other footage I'm going to be putting out later on. But there was a period of time there where 6 guys, 6 Proud Boys, black and yellow, all dressed the same, and they were advancing. And Antifa, 20 to 30 Antifa that was still there, was backing up, doing nothing. 6 guys pushed Antifa back, making sure that everybody would have an exit to get back to the event where it was, to make sure that Antifa wasn't going to follow, and make sure that nobody else was going to get hurt. It's a win.
Yeah.
It's a win. Antifa came, they attacked, and people, I talked about this so many times, but self-defense, it's a thing. And the guy who drove the van in and attacked, the guys that beat him down, that's self-defense, period. If no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There were people who were incapacitated due to his bear mace, and those guys defended themselves. They defended themselves with prejudice. When they were pushing Antifa back into the school parking lot, they were defending themselves because there were kids at this event. They moved the event so it could be a peaceful place where people could come and just hang out. It wasn't supposed to be a fight. The whole point of it was to make it so there wasn't a fight. And these guys were doing great security. The Proud Boys that came today made sure that the security was solid and tactically just phenomenal. It was great.
What about you, Free Press?
I don't know. Both of you basically covered everything, so I don't know if I have anything else. But I mean, if no one really knows, there was two clashes. Obviously, the first one was with the former ambulance, and that was at the beginning. I got none of that until obviously after I got over there. And then, well, the Proud Boys obviously pushed back at Antifa, like they said. Obviously, about two blocks down, they pushed them back down to like 2 traffic lights. Then, about 5 to 7 minutes later, Antifa started advancing towards the rally again, and you can see it in my footage. You can hear them say, "Hey, Antifa's coming back. Everyone, get online and stand your ground." Not exactly in that way, but I'm paraphrasing. And so all the Proud Boys got lined up, shields in front. People were ready. The Antifa started marching back forward. They started throwing objects. I don't remember if there were any explosives at all. But they instigated the fight again, and then the Proud Boys pushed them back even further this time in full retreat back to their vehicles to the high school. By the way, to a high school. Well, there could be kids, but luckily it's a Sunday, so there is no school. But still, it was in a high school parking lot that they parked.
Yep.
nowhere else, not in a Walmart or a Target parking lot, nowhere else. They chose a school. They chose a daggone school. And, you know, they keep saying, the Antifa and the left keep saying about how conservatives or the right are the problem. But here's the thing. I honestly, me personally, I have yet to see them instigate anything. Antifa is usually always the instigators. I mean, and everyone's probably going to be people that ream at me for this, but yes, there have been incidents of where right-wingers have gone too far.
Yep. And
I will not defend those. I mean, there are people that will defend that, but I personally will not, because I believe in self-defense. I'm like libertarian anarchist, so I believe heavily in non-aggression, and if you are attacked and you fight back until that threat stops, or until the threat stops, that's fine, but you can't just... But if they say I surrender and start retreating, just don't do it.
And that's the thing. See, that's the thing that happened today that I was very fortunate to be able to film. There was people, Antifa, that were trying to come back, that were in that other area. They were trying to come back, and the Proud Boys stood up. They stood up to them. They got in their face, and they said, "No, you need to go the other direction." And as soon as they turned around and started walking away, bye, have a good day. There was zero, and I repeat, zero unnecessary aggression by anybody on the right whatsoever. And this is normal. Like, it happens, you know, sometimes, like you said, sometimes, you know, some people might get a little out of hand. But when it comes to normal everyday things, what we saw today is the norm. It is normally how it goes. When they're sitting there and they're coming up, and you know who they are. They have the Antifa medic crap on them, and they're coming up, and they go, "No, you need to go that way. Turn around, go the other direction right now." And they do it. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody came to Portland today, except for, you know, the artists formerly known as Antifa, the commie wannabe ninjas. That's it. Those are the only people who came to fight.
I'll say this, there were several people in the Antifa crowd that got the crap beaten out of them. The crap beaten out of them. So they were, the right-wing crowd was pushing them out of their area, and they pushed them all the way back to their cars. Some people got the crap beaten out of them. But I'm a big fan of self-defense, and that was clear self-defense. Where you stop on that is some people's decision, but a gang of 30 to 50 people came in and started throwing bombs at people.
At gas stations.
Police said they weren't going to show up. Police did not show up.
They did not show up.
Those people are not going to get arrested. If they ever are arrested, they're likely not to get prosecuted.
Yep.
How else is a society supposed to protect itself when the government is allowing them to do this thing and enabling them to do this? Like, if I don't think anything happened today on the right wing side that was wrong. They were attacked and they fought back, and when you're in an attack, anybody that's been in a fight, you don't just eliminate the threat. You use enough violence to make sure the threat is eliminated and that it's not going to come back.
Yep.
So another thing I want to point out is watch what the politicians are saying. Watch what Ted Wheeler, Joanne Hardesty, Kate Brown, listen to all of them, what they say. The big takeaway here today that I'm sure that they're going to leave out, the big point that you need to notice is that Antifa gathered at Salmon Spring Park in downtown Portland. You can Google that, and then you can Google the intersection of 122nd and Skidmore.
Sandy.
122nd is basically Sandy there, I think.
Yeah.
But 122nd and Skidmore is the intersection there, and then you can look at a big warehouse there down to the northeast of that intersection. I think it's labeled as a Sears right now. Anybody in Portland knows it's the abandoned Kmart. Years and years and years ago, it was Kmart. Antifa came all the way across the city and came to that event. Notice that Ted Wheeler, Kate Brown, Joanne Hardesty, they're gonna give some kind of comment about this. They're gonna leave that out. They're gonna leave out the fact that Antifa went out of their way to come and attack. They're gonna, if they mention that explosives were gonna throw, they're going to say explosives were going to be thrown. They're not gonna say Antifa used explosives. No right-wingers threw explosives. They did not have any explosives. Both sides used mace. Antifa had some kind of like gel mace that they were like spraying the crap out of everybody. It was actually sticking in the air. Usually, if you've ever been in these events or gotten misted from mace, This was a little bit worse. It was like there was like thick droplets of gel in the air, and like you got a little bit in your eye, and you were done for a minute. But that's the big takeaway. Notice if they leave that out. The Antifa came across the city. Antifa struck first. Patriots struck last.
Oh, hold on. One more thing that wasn't mentioned. They were actually throwing fire extinguishers. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, they had little mini fire extinguishers. I saw them throwing that too.
yeah, but yeah, people say an officer in DC got hit with a fire extinguisher. So
Yep. And it's not just all that. Downtown Portland, they brought rifles. Hear me.
So on
Hear
that,
me.
we're following this up right now. We don't really know what's going on, but there was a shooter. They're calling it an active shooter, or at least the Antifa press is calling it an active shooter. It looks like there was an older white man that looked like he was skilled. He looked like he knew what he was doing, how to use a gun. But it looks like, from the videos I've seen, that there was an exchange of gunfire.
Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what it was. But I will guarantee you, none of the media is going to sit there and go, hey, you know Antifa brought down an SKS and an AR? That they were walking down the waterfront with rifles?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say that. The media's not going to talk about that. We, at the Patriot thing, what did we see? We saw paintball guns.
Yeah.
We saw paintball guns.
And I don't think any of us know anything about that guy down. We're in the dark on this. Probably more.
It just
than
happened.
You guys probably know more than we do right now because we haven't had the time to go Googling everything. But as far as we know, none of the right-wing crowd from the event in Northeast Portland went downtown to the waterfront.
Nope.
None of them went down there. So
They all went somewhere else.
yeah. So I fear that Antifa saw a white man that they think is a chud just happened to be walking downtown. I'm spitballing here. None of this is fact. I'm assuming. I'm hoping that what happened wasn't this. It's possible that just some random man was walking downtown and that the Antifa got carried away and exchanged gunfire with him. I don't know who shot first. I don't know the story. But you can look at the social media posts by Antifa today. There's many of them just accosting different people downtown, calling them chuds. There was one post that said that they had fascist sunglasses, and they went on to describe what kind of sunglasses are fascist sunglasses. Apparently, they're really shiny.
Like the ones I usually wear. But I'm not wearing today, which is hilarious.
So do you want to close this down, and then maybe we'll split up and take questions individually from the chat?
Yeah, we'll do that. So, essentially, guys, like, main thing is everybody who's watching this right now, everybody who saw our streams earlier today, and everybody who's going to see the other footage that we're going to put out later on, it's not just on us. Like, we're out there, we're filming this stuff, my back hurts, the vest is heavy, and, like, but we're out there, we're filming it, but it's on you guys to correct the narrative. Like, we did our job, we did our part, we're talking about it now, but it is on you, everybody watching all three of these videos right here, on these three different streams, these three different platforms, and multiple platforms we're going to be doing it. It's your guys' job to share it out. It is your guys' job to correct the narrative.
And you have the information now. This is why those of us that live stream, this is why we live stream. It's a pure, unedited, beginning to end. You get to see it from yourself. Villain Report, Common Sense Conservative, were you live streaming?
yes, I was.
Free Press Media was live streaming. Thomas Morales was there. Jared Hansen was there. American Polish Brotherhood was there. Tara was there. And Portland Andy was there live streaming.
Ford Fisher.
Who else was there? Huh?
Ford Fisher.
Ford Fisher was there. BG
Quincy.
on the Scene was there, probably tweeting some stuff out like he always does. He's good at that. In Rupley, they had a journalist from Rupley there. They had Sergio Olmos was there, and I'm sure he's going to put some propaganda out for the New York Times or whoever else he can get there. Justin Yu, if I'm saying his name right, was there. Antifa Press again was there. Matthew, I can't think of his last name, was there. Somewhat Antifa Press was there. And many others. There are many live streams and more people that were filming non-live video. You guys can look at all for yourself and make up your own mind. We don't have to tell you what to think. It's all in your hand. But please question the mainstream media. Channel 12, Channel 8, Channel 9 was there. And please question what the politicians say. Please question what the Oregonian is going to say. Compare them yourself. Take
To what
the
you
time.
see, to what you saw.
Yeah.
Like, the streams are out unless YouTube takes them out, in which case, if they do take them out, I'm on a different platform. I don't know if you guys are on different platforms, but all the footage that I got from my other camera will be on Rockfin. Like, we're going to be keeping the footage alive one way or another. And we're going to be, clipping some of it probably and throwing it on Twitter going, no, that's not true. That's not true. But really, we need your guys' help. We need your guys' help to get this stuff out and to help correct the narrative, because we did the hard work. You guys can just sit there and do that.
All right. Before we split up, I think you're filming still.
Yep.
I'm going to take one question from my live chat and then answer it as a group. And Rob will probably do the same thing. So if somebody gives a good question, I'll read it real quick.
Very quick.
Anybody got a good question about today? Looks like I'm not getting any questions. I'll look for like another second. I don't know if Rob's chat's going faster. He's probably getting one. Any questions? Questions before we check out of this?
We'll answer questions on our own.
Okay, I want to answer this question because I think it's ludicrous. Lord Durden says, "Why didn't the right wing do anything effective?"
What? It was a win today.
Wait, why didn't the right wing do anything effective?
Did you watch the streams? Did you just listen to this whole thing that we did? Like, it was very effective. Antifa got ran out of there today.
Yeah. They had 30 Antifa had 6 guys pushing them back. 6 dudes. And they weren't sitting there with weapons or anything like that. Antifa was doing this. And 6 guys were doing this. And that was it.
It's because they don't actually want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Once they ran out of bombs, they started getting out of there pretty faster.
Yep. No, today was an extreme win. We proved so many different things. First of all, we have a lot more diversity than Antifa could ever dream of. Second of all, we're about freedom, not hate. Every single speech said the exact same thing. Yes, there were a couple irritated people who gave speeches, but that's, they have reason to be angry. They keep getting called white supremacists. They keep getting called Nazis. They keep getting called racist and violent and all these other horrible, stupid, not even true things. Of course, some people are going to be a little pissed off.
So I got a good question here.
Go for it.
It's a good question, but it's if you're informed on everything, but you guys are all over the country. I'm going to shut up. When you're at these events, is there a police presence at all?
Nope.
Like, hold up somewhere. Do you just stand by and let these fights happen? Are they stretched too thin to do anything? Real question. That's a good question, and we have good answers for that.
I saw no police anywhere. Not even backed off. I didn't see them around the corner. I didn't see them behind buildings. I saw no police. I didn't hear no sirens.
There were 2 cops that drove by early, and they had the plane going around. I filmed the plane going around.
That was theirs?
And that was last year. They were using it during the riots. They had the plane that kept on circling around and around and around. And that was the only police presence. The cops said they weren't coming.
In an official press release, the chief of police in Portland said that the police will not respond to this.
Yep.
Their PR claim is that their numbers are so spread thin that they're only responding to intense things like murders, rapes, and serious robberies. Good luck getting the police to come to a robbery.
Yeah.
But as I've said the last couple of days, as I said in my rant this morning, and I've said it a few times, if a small army all dressed in black bloc comes in throwing bombs at people, if that's not the time for the police to come in a city, if that's not the proper use for the limited resources, then there's no what is.
It wasn't just that they were throwing bombs at people, y'all. They were throwing bombs at a gas station.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was a gas station. They were throwing bombs at the pumps.
Feet away from some of the fuel pumps. Like, they could have
killed themselves.
You're not supposed to smoke in front of a gas pump, right? They could have blown up a gas station.
Yep.
So
here's a question for me. Do you think if that happened, they would finally be declared terrorists at all?
Oh yeah. No, that's what I was saying. Like, I'm glad that the gas station did not blow up.
Well, of course.
But if it would have blown up, I think the feds would have gotten it. ATF, I think that would have been a win for freedom in Portland area, at least, because the feds would have came in and looked into what's happening to Portland, and they would have had the authority to take over and maybe even remove. I don't know the laws, but Portland's politicians are allowing this to happen.
Yep. And as it is, though, even with all the explosives that we've seen, not just today, guys, they've been using explosives against the church things. They've been using it for the last 3 weeks. All we have seen is Antifa using improvised explosives. Where is the ATF? Isn't that their only job?
Yeah. People are throwing bombs. Those were improvised. They're not just fireworks.
Nope.
I said it on my stream earlier. I don't know if you were a little punk in high school and you used to take Piccolo Pete's and turn them into little bombs. Like I'm not going to tell you how to do that on stream, but it was pretty simple for a 14-year-old kid to do, and you throw them in there like an M80, and they're fun. Similar stuff looked like it was happening to some of those.
But bigger munitions.
But each of those bombs that I saw was very different. And there wasn't, like, there were obviously separate people making them, but they were all improvised and they were all changed and altered. So there's that. Did you have any questions from your chat?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Nah. My guys know I talk too much, so.
All right.
Yeah, they'll ask me questions later.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I'm going to sit and BS with my chat privately for a second. Try not to get that in